a white woman, curly brown hair, purple sunglasses, disability advocacy, purple. And we are the designated protection and advocacy agency for people with disabilities in Minnesota. We serve the entire state with 23 amazing attorneys and advocates every day. I'm here because our very existence is being threatened. Our mission to ensure that people with disabilities can live in a community of their choice is being threatened. The community infrastructure, MDLC, and many other disability advocates and partners have built is being threatened. Independence for Minnesotans with disabilities is being threatened. And more than 50 years of tireless work fighting for the rights of people with disabilities is being threatened. I was asked to speak about the history, and if you don't know this, please learn. Protection and advocacy agencies across the country and in Minnesota were born from tragedy. For decades, children and adults with disabilities were treated as less than human. They were locked away in institutions and put in terrible, abusive conditions. Minnesota was no different than other states. Across Minnesota, people with disabilities were forced to live in institutions in deplorable conditions. But Minnesota Legal Aid and the Disability Law Center, along with other partners, represented clients with disabilities in these institutions. In the Welsh case, in the 70s. This case forced the state to provide community living options for people with disabilities and drastically improve the conditions of facilities. In 1970, Congress finally recognized the tragedies that were occurring and created and funded the protection and advocacy agencies to protect people with disabilities from abuse and neglect and get people into the community of their choice. Since the Welsh case, DLC has continued to represent people with disabilities and make sure they have independence and freedom to choose what they want for their lives. Over the last just 2 years, DLC has served over 2,000 clients. We represent people on special education issues, waiver reduction issues, community discrimination, housing discrimination, employment discrimination, abuse allegations, and much, much more. Just last year, we completed over 250 outreach events and trainings, making sure people know what their rights are. We monitor and investigate facilities across the state that serve people with disabilities. We monitored more than 40 facilities over the last year. Jails, prisons, mental health facilities, group homes, schools. We engaged in extensive policy advocacy, working every day to expand the rights of people with disabilities. Our agency is often one of the only independent legal checks on a system run by counties and states. We must remain independent from those systems in order to challenge the systems to do better. Without our work, the most vulnerable are silenced. Many people we protect cannot advocate for themselves. They may be nonverbal, isolated, institutionalized. When we lose capacity, those voices disappear from the public conversation entirely. They need a voice. We cannot go backwards. We cannot back down. We cannot allow Congress to take away funding that ensures people with disabilities have choice, independence, and opportunity. Woo! I speak for myself and my colleagues. We have spent more than 50 years fighting for disability rights, and we are not done. We will not stop fighting. We need funding to keep doing our work. The protection and advocacy system must remain. We must protect choice, independence, and opportunity for all Minnesotans with disabilities. Thank you so much for your support, and thank you for being here.
Thank you, Tina. And let's thank ARC of Minnesota for organizing this and bringing us together. So my name is Mahdi Warsama. I am the CEO of Somali Parents Autism Network, a nonprofit organization working with families, immigrant families with children diagnosed with autism, mainly from Somalia. I'm here today because I'm deeply worried about how these proposed cuts to Medicaid will impact on our families. As an advocate for children with developmental disabilities, I have first-hand experience. I have first-hand experience with the essential services and support these families with developmental disabilities need and where the funding comes from. The funding comes from Medicaid. We call it MA or medical assistance in Minnesota. So the children with developmental disabilities have three essential support systems or three essential services that they rely on. The first is caregiver support, whether that's a parent or PCA, a personal care assistant, and that's paid for by Medicaid. The other support system that they have is MA, DD waiver, or what they call a developmental disability waiver, and that's Medicaid. It's funded by Medicaid. Everybody knows that. And third is the nonprofit disability civil rights and services advocates like ARC Minnesota, like Disability Law Center, like the Governor's Council on Developmental Disabilities. By the way, when our families come to us looking for an attorney to do what we call a guardianship, when their child with developmental disabilities reaches age 18, when they become 18, they need a lawyer to file the guardianship. Where we send them to the Disability Law Center and Autism Law Center, the pro bono law offices that we have here in Minnesota. We also have research. They also depend on the research institutions, like the ICI, where Amy Haywood, Dr. Amy Haywood spoke with us before, and we have the Minnesota Autism and Developmental Disability Monitoring Project, where they inform us the latest research about autism and developmental disabilities. By the way, we base our services, we develop services and programs according to the data that the ADDM provides every couple of years. For example, in the Somali community, one of the things that SPAN focuses on is what we call early intervention. We didn't know it was an issue until the University of Minnesota did the research from 2010, 11, 13, and they found that most of Somali families are not diagnosing their children until they are 5 years old. That's why SPAN developed the Autism acceptance awareness campaign, and one of the things that we always talk about is early intervention, based on the research did by University of Minnesota. So, all under the proposed federal reconciliation budget bill, all those three essential services and support systems are under attack. So this is the time to organize. This is the time to act. Please call your elected officials. Please act now. It's not time to complain. It's time to act. Thank you for listening. Appreciate it.
Good afternoon. My name is Sarah Curfman. I'm the CEO of the Down Syndrome Association of Minnesota. This is actually my son, Felix. Felix, can you say hi? In 1975, the life expectancy of a person with Down syndrome was just 20 years old. Today, it's nearly 60. So what's changed? Yes, so first of all, So what has changed in those last 5 decades? Sure, there's medical advances, in fact, many of them funded by research at NIH, as well as a couple other things. But to put it in perspective, those of us with a mere 46 chromosomes have only seen a life expectancy change of about 5 years. So what really happened between today, 1975 and today? Institutions closed. People with Down syndrome, developmental disabilities, and other conditions that institutionalize them were invited for the first time ever to live in community. And organizations like the ACL and other federal organizations that protected their rights, that funded services and supports needed, came into existence in the last 5 decades. So here we are today, seeing those organizations at risk, and they are very, very much at risk. This is my son, Felix. Felix, say hi again.
Hi.
Hi. So about 3 years ago, when Felix was 4 years old, he was, for lack of no better term, kicked out of his childcare for actually turning over a plant in his preschool classroom. He was a nuisance and he could not be supported anymore, and so he was kicked out. We placed a call immediately to the Disability Law Center. We filed a civil rights complaint. And while it didn't go necessarily where we wanted to go, I still had agencies and organizations to support me in that claim. If the ACL goes away and the funding with the ACL goes away, we lose the Minnesota Disability Law Center, we lose the Governor's Council on Developmental Disabilities, we lose many institutions that let individuals like Felix enjoy life all the way through 60 or hopefully 70 or hopefully 80 with things like post-secondary education options, the opportunity to live in community with his friends and peers. We need to fight to stop these things at the federal level. So what can you do today? First of all, contact your legislators. Calling is better. They document your phone calls. Contact your federal legislators. Let them know that cuts to the ACL, these huge cuts and reorganizations to the Department of Health and Human Services, the Department of Education, they are not supporting individuals with disabilities. Second, talk to them about Medicaid. Call them 15 times a day if you need to, and talk to them about Medicaid. Tell your story. There's a booth here that you can go tell your story. If you look online right now, PBS NewsHour is collecting stories about your family's experience with Medicaid. The ARC of the U.S. and I'm sure the ARC of Minnesota are collecting stories. Tell your story. Talk about how Medicaid supports you. Talk about how Medicaid supports your child. And finally, and I feel like I can take this opening because Representative Hicks said something earlier, don't let our state off the hook. There's funding at the state level that is also crucial to our families. There's a huge vote on Monday. The budget, the Health and Human Services budget, it's going to the floor at the House on Monday. And as typical, disability saw the first cuts, and in this case, the deepest cuts. So don't take your eye off the ball at the state level either. So call. If you need to know who to call, how to call, just remember 5calls.org.
Yes.
It's a great organization. It tells you exactly who to find on what issues, who to call, whether it's your attorney general, whether it's your federal legislator, whether it's your state legislator, but pick up the phone and call. That will make a huge difference. Our collective voices do matter. Felix, do you want to tell everyone to call?
Say call.
Go.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming. Thank you to the ARC of Minnesota. My name is Deqa Farah. I'm a community member and a proud disability advocate. But above all, I'm the parent of an incredible autistic kid who has shown me that disability is not a problem to fix. It's a natural and valuable part of human diversity. He's taught me to listen more. He's taught me to assume competence and fight for a world where everyone is included as they are. And across Minnesota, disabled people, especially those with developmental disabilities, are navigating systems that were never built with them in mind. These systems are full of barriers: societal, physical, cultural, bureaucratic, and too often they place the burden of advocacy on families while excluding disabled people from the decision making that affects their lives. Boo, right? Yes. For years, I did what many families do. I tried to figure it out alone. I sat through IEP meetings without knowing my child's rights. I chased services. I repeated my story again and again and again, hoping someone would finally understand. But something changed for me, and that's why I'm here today. What changed everything for me was being part of a program called Minnesota Lend and Partners in Policy Making. These were not just programs, they were turning points. Through them, I gained knowledge, I gained confidence, and most importantly, I gained community. I learned how to advocate effectively, not just for services, but for systems change. I also learned that real advocacy means following the lead of disabled people and working to remove the barriers that they never asked for. And I brought that learning back to my community. One of the biggest things that I'm proud of is with help, I was able to organize inclusive iftars during Ramadan. These were welcoming, these were welcoming spaces designed with families, with disabled families in mind. Sensory friendly, physically accessible, culturally responsive. We created an environment where families didn't have to choose between comfort or community. Who wants to do that? That's what true inclusion looks like, and that's what true belonging looks like. These leadership programs empower families and allies like me, but more importantly, they create spaces for disabled people to lead. They give voice, they give voice, visibility, and validation to people who are too often spoken about instead of with. And now we stand here, and now these programs are at risk. And so is a lot of other things. Let me be clear. Cutting these programs doesn't just affect the budget line, it affects lives. It means fewer disabled leaders shaping policies. It means more families left in the dark about their rights. It means lost opportunities for connection, inclusion, and for justice. I saw a post the other day on Facebook. It said, "No one is able-bodied forever." I know Representative Hicks said too. Nobody is able-bodied forever. Advocate. Let's advocate for accessible world right now. And friends, this isn't someone else's fight. It's all of our fight. It's all of us. Disabled people and their families are doing everything they can. And these programs are what help us to do it without burning out. They're not extras. They are essential. Now, before I close, I'm the last speaker. And I hope you guys are not tired, because we're going to do a little chant. I want to invite all of you to raise your voices with me. It's going to be short and it's going to be powerful. I'll say it first so you can repeat it after me. Ready?
Yeah.
Support, not silence. Support, not silence. Support, not silence. Now let's do it together one more time. Make sure they hear us. Make sure they hear us. Support, not silence.
Support, not silence.
Support, not silence. Now, this isn't about pity. This is about power. This isn't about sympathy. This is about solidarity. And lastly, we're not here to speak over, but to stand beside and to fight for a future where every disabled person is respected, included, and celebrated. Thank you so much.
Your time is precious and there's a lot going on. So I want to thank all of you, including our legislators as well. And I always want to say SpongeBob, but it's Sound Sponge who came and joined us today as our band. So, did y'all know that last Monday, it was the 48th anniversary of the signing of Section 504? And the late, great Judy Heumann, who is a trailblazer, right, in disability rights, led a group of protesters for the longest sit-in protest in American history in order to get that divorce signed. Did you also know that in just a few days on the 12th, is this March? Soon, this anniversary is coming up. The 35th anniversary of the Capitol Crawl. Y'all remember that, right? Where disabled folks got up out of their mobility devices and they crawled up our nation's capital for equality. And did you also know that this year in July marks the 35th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act? 35 years. 35 years. We need to honor our ancestors and elders who paved the way for us so we can have access and inclusion. They work tirelessly and oftentimes ignored their own access needs in order to fight for the rights that we have today. We've come so far as a disability community, but now everything, and I mean everything, is at risk. Are we going to let that happen?
No!
Let me ask that again. Are we going to let that happen? That's right. So since I'm the last speaker, I promise y'all, I'm the last one. I want to address the big questions. What do we do now? What happens after you all leave today and go home? Give me some suggestions. That's right. You're all right. You can join the fight, right? And if you're already in the fight, keep doing it. Your voices are needed now more than ever. People with disabilities, we're being targeted right now, right? And you know who else is ready to fight? The ARC Minnesota. The ARC Minnesota knows what's up. We know the assignment, right?
Yeah.
We will never support anything that harms people with disabilities. We will always speak out against injustice. And we'll fight alongside all of you. We will resist to protect the funding that we need to survive. Fight with ARC to protect the programs that our loved ones depend on to live their lives with dignity and value. A couple pieces of homework. I used to support my kids at an online school, so I know all about homework, okay? Become an ARC member today. That's one part of your homework. And where's Nick? Nick is our donor relations manager. Nick, hi! Nick's at my 2 o'clock if you're facing out to the mall, but they are, I don't know what time it is out there. But so Nick's got those fancy retro 80s sunglasses, and Nick is holding up our QR code with more information on how you can be a member of ARC to continue this fight. And guess what? We even have a membership level that's free. And we all like free because eggs are expensive right now, right? That person that promised eggs wouldn't be expensive anymore broke that promise. So connect with Nick. There are also QR codes stationed on signs throughout the mall here. So please get your phones out and scan those QR signs. And then also, we're going to be reaching out to all of you soon, okay? You'll be getting more information from the ARC on how to remain engaged and other opportunities where you can help continue this fight.
Yeah.
I want to end by sharing my favorite principle out of the 10 principles of disability justice. The 8th principle, interdependence. It's all about solidarity. It's all about the fight. And all of that is towards liberation and freedom for our people on this land that doesn't belong to us, but all of our actions impact each other. What I do impacts you, and what you do impacts me. And so we're moving together on this, right? So in other words, interdependence means togetherness. Final couple of questions here. Do people with disabilities matter? Are we disposable?
No!
Do we have an inherent value? So then let's do this. Thank you so much for coming today. Woo!